Success is the maximum utilization of the ability that we have. With these words, I welcome you all to ABS Creations by your educationalist Chandrakala. Understanding before action helps utilization of resources in time with awareness of facts. There is no deficit in human resources. The deficit is in human will. So stretch your awareness of what's possible. An educational channel with moral values. Before proceeding to the video, subscribe this video by pressing the bell icon. Thank you.
In our daily life, we use lot of elements or objects which are present in the earth's surface. You and me have experienced a life-on situation. Do you remember our mom used to scold us for wasting food, for not switching off the power when not in use, not closing the tap properly? Yes, I can feel a smile in your face. Why is it so? What are these? These are resources. Resource is everything available in the environment which satisfy the needs of the human in one way or the other. In general and in specific, everything available in our environment which can be used to satisfy our needs, provided it is technologically available, economically feasible and culturally acceptable, is termed as resource. What is resource? Everything available in our environment which can be used to satisfy our needs, provided it is technologically available, economically feasible and culturally acceptable. The elements of this earth, how it can become a resource? It can become a resource when there is an interdependent relationship of human beings with nature, with technology and create institutions. So the process of transformation of things available in our environment involves an interdependent relationship between nature, technology and institutions. Human beings interact with nature through technology and create institutions to accelerate this economic development. So can we say these resources are a free gift of nature? No, resources are not free gift of nature. They are the functions of human activity. So humans transform the available materials into a useful and a valuable resource. So now we'll enter into the general classification of resources. Resources in general can be classified into two types, that is natural resource and the human-made resource. First of all, what is natural resource? The resource which can be used directly by men from the nature, they are called as natural resource. Whereas, what do you mean by human resource? The resource which can be made by men, they are referred as human resources. So these natural resources can be classified into two types. They are the renewable resource and the non-renewable resource. The renewable resource, what do you mean by renewable resource? The resource which can be used again and again, they are known as renewable resource. So the formation is very less period of time. So the renewable resource can be classified into continuous or flow resources as well as biological resource. The biological resource in turn can be classified into natural vegetation and wildlife. Renewable resource can be classified into continuous or flow resources and biological resources, and the biological resource in turn can be classified into natural vegetation and wildlife. Whereas non-renewable resource, the resource which cannot be used again and again, they are termed as non-renewable resource. So these resources can be classified into recyclable resources, that is metals, as well as the resource which cannot be recycled. They come under the category of non-recyclable. Example, fossil fuels like coal, petroleum and natural gas. So natural resource can be classified into renewable and non-renewable resources. Human-made resources are the resources which is made by man. It can be classified into based on the structures and institutions and on the based on quantity and quality. So resources in general can be classified into natural resources and human resources. Now we'll see how the resources are classified on various bases. So that is on the basis of origin, on the basis of exhaustibility, on the basis of ownership and on the basis of status of development. When we speak about origin, so how the resources has taken its source or has taken its source, that is what we used to say it as origin. Whereas exhaustibility, how the human exhaust or use the resource. Whereas ownership is nothing but who owns the resources. Whereas status of development, whether the resources have been developed or not, or why it is not developed. So, on the basis of origin, we can say the resources are classified as biotic resources and abiotic resources. Whereas on the basis of exhaustibility, we can say it as renewable resource and non-renewable resource. And on the basis of ownership, we can say it as individual resource, community-owned resource, national resource and international resource. And on the basis of status of development, we can say this as potential resources, developed resource, stock and reserve. Now we'll enter into each basis. So the resources which are obtained from biosphere and have life in it, they are classified as, they are called as biotic resources. Now you can see the picture. A baby is laughing, the baby is playing with a kit, flower is blossoming and the animal deer is jumping and running. So what you can observe from this picture? So all these resources, they have life in it. So that is what we say it as biotic resources. So biotic resources are the resources which are obtained from biosphere and has a life in it. The other type of resource is obtained from the non-living things. And these resources, they doesn't have a life. So these type of resources come under the category of abiotic resources. Now what is abiotic resources? They are the resources which are composed of non-living things and doesn't have a life in it. So they are called as abiotic resources. Just you can see a rock and the metal. The next resource, it is classified on the basis of exhaustibility. That is renewable resources. What do you mean by renewable resource? The resources which can be renewed or reproduced by physical, chemical or mechanical processes. They are referred as renewable resources. So these renewable resources can also be classified as replenishable resources. For example, you can see the solar energy, the wind energy, wildlife and water. So these resources take a very shorter period for its formation. So these resources can be of continuous or flow in nature. The next type of resources on the basis of exhaustibility is that non-renewable resources. The resources which cannot be reused or reproduced either by physical, chemical or mechanical processes. They are referred as non-renewable resources. Because of its unlimited use, so these resources are less in number. So this type of resource takes millions of years for its formation. For example, you can see the fossil fuels like coal, petroleum and natural gas. So on the basis of exhaustibility, the resources are classified as renewable resource and the non-renewable resource. And on the basis of ownership, we can see individual resources, community-owned resources, national resources and international resources. So what is individual resources? The individual resources are the resources which are owned privately by an individual. So for example, in the rural area, individual resource, we can say it as a farmer owning a land when allotted by the government on the payment of a revenue. Whereas in the urban area, we can say it has the plot or a home or a house. So these resources, they come under the category of individual resources. Whereas community-owned resources, the resources which are accessible to all the members of the community, they come under the category of community-owned resources. For example, the village commons such as grazing grounds, burial grounds, village ponds, etc. Whereas in the urban areas such as picnic parks, public picnic spots, public parks and the playgrounds, they come under the category of community-owned resources. So what is the difference between the individual resource and the community-owned resource? The resources which are owned privately by an individual, it is called as an individual resources, and the resources which are accessible to all the members of the community, they are called as community-owned resources. The next resource on the basis of ownership is the national resources. Technically, all the resources, they belong to nation. So whatever the resources which are found within the land boundary as well as the territorial water boundary up to 12 nautical miles, you can say this as a national resources. The country has the legal power to acquire even private property for public good. So you can say roads, canals, railways have been constructed on the fields owned by some individual. So it is carried out by the Urban Development Authority, which has empowered by the government to acquire land, private land into a public property. So these resources can be called as national resource. The next one is international resources. So as you have seen already that this comes under the territorial waters up to 12 nautical miles from the coastline. The next zone, we say it as a contagious zone. So this contagious zone is seen up to 24 nautical miles. So first of all, what is contagious zone? It is a band of water extending farther from the outer edge of the territorial sea up to 24 nautical miles, that is 44.4 km from the baseline, within which a state can extend limited control for its purpose of preventing or punishing infringement of its customs, fiscal, immigration or sanitary. So this zone, we used to say it as a contagious zone. Up to 200 nautical miles, we used to say it as exclusive economic zone. So the resources which is used in this exclusive economic zone, the people, they don't want to pay any taxes here. So the next type of resource, beyond 200 nautical miles, they will come under open ocean. They come under open ocean. So there are international institutions which regulate some resources. So the oceanic resources beyond 200 nautical miles of the exclusive economic zone, they belong to open ocean and no individual can utilize these resources without any concurrence of international institutions. So we used to say this as what? International resources. So on the basis of ownership, we have seen individual resources, community-owned resources, national resources and international resources. Then, on the basis of status of development, we can say potential resources. Resources which are found in a region but have not been utilized, they are referred as potential resources. So for example, in western Rajasthan and Gujarat, we have enormous potential for the development of wind and solar energy, but so far these have not been developed properly. So resources which are found in a region but have not been utilized, they come under the category of potential resources. The next type of resource is the developed resources. These developed resources are surveyed and the quantity and quality have been determined for utilization. So what is a developed resource? Resources which are surveyed and their quantity and quality have been determined for utilization. So the development of these resources, they depend upon technology and level of their feasibility. So such type of resources can be called as developed resources. The next type of resource is a stock, that is, materials in the environment which have the potentiality to satisfy the human need, but the human beings don't have the appropriate technology to access these resources. So for example, we can say water is a compound of two inflammable gases, that is, hydrogen and oxygen. They can be used as a resource of energy, but we don't have the required technical support, that is know-how technology, to use them for this purpose. So hence, it can be considered as a stock. So what is a resource of a stock? That is a material which is found in the environment which has the potentiality to satisfy the human needs, but human beings, they don't have the appropriate technology to access it. So that is what we used to say it as a stock. Reserve is a subset of a stock. A reserve is a subset of a stock. It can be put to use with existing technical know-how, but the use has not been started. Example, river can be used for generating hydroelectric power, but presently it is being utilized only to a limited extent. So what is the reserve? Reserve is a subset of the stock which can be put to use with existing technical know-how. So but the use has not been yet started. So on the basis of status of development, we have seen the resources are classified as potential resources, developed resources, stock and the reserves. So in the next video, we will see about the depletion of the resources and its development, and what is the resource planning process, and what are the steps to conserve the resources. If you like this video, comment it, like it and share it. Thank you.